Because I got the meeting, I logged into the address that I had. Now I have to just, I guess, put my name in and see the Ask Join Meeting, right?
And is it, which address are you going to? Which URL is it?
The one that I had in the email, so it was the bit, and then,
Yeah, perfect. Yep, so that's the one. We
Okay.
recently switched our screen share software, so I just want to make sure that I'm logged into the one that you're logging into.
Okay, yeah, let me just put this address again here, so...
I'm gonna be gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You're going with your mommy, right?
So if there's anything that you want me to talk to.
Okay, ask to join meeting.
You still have your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
You can,
If you'd like,
you can turn your
mic off
if you want it on.
Okay, I hear... Because I just want to make sure that I'm not going to have a double voice, because I hear it on my phone and I hear it on the screen right here.
So do you want to do the meeting through your laptop or through the phone?
Yeah, I think through the laptop is going to be better, because I'm actually just...
Let me hang up.
So, okay.
Alright, now I have my microphone on, and I'm going to share my screen here in just a moment. And who has used OpenTable or Guest Center? Anyone?
Well, I personally had a chance to get familiar with the demo over the last couple days, so that's something that probably going to help me a little bit to understand what's up. But
Yeah, absolutely. And the level of questions that you'll be able to ask in like your engagement when we go through the iPad will be more meaningful because you already played around, and so I can cater that to what you've already learned. And is it just you and I on the call, or is anyone joining us?
I have my lead hostess with me, Paula, right here, and also the general manager, Dauphine.
Okay, perfect. Delphine and Paula, you said?
Paula, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Alright, and you should see my screen. Can you see me moving my mouse?
Mm-hmm, yep, I see it right here.
Well, I'm going to send you links to everything that we go over. So for the first half of the call, we're going to go over Guest Center Web. That's going to be your back of house access. You can access from anywhere. There's unlimited access points. It's where you'll go to manage your profile, your availability planning, so floor plans, dates, etc. And we're going to go over everything in this first. There's a ton of information, and a lot of it is kind of what I'd like to call like set it and forget it, or no, that's where you can go back to check it out later. So we have a support site for you. Today we're talking about Stripe. It's a credit card option to vault for large parties or do cancellations or deposits for Valentine's Day or special days. If you want more information about that later, you can come in here and search for Stripe. So if you'd like to take notes, you totally can. You'll have the recording of this, but you'll also have this as a resource. From here, you can go to Guest Center, and then we'll have a new host checklist, new manager checklist, live and recorded webinars, and then a lot of other kind of content that can be helpful for you. So use this as you see fit. And then this is always an option that you have. For the next 2 weeks, I'm available for you guys if you feel like you need additional training or if you have questions. And then anything after that, you can reach out to support or to your account management team that you'll be introduced to.
All right.
It's Robert. I think he's a hybrid. But if anything comes up urgent in the next 2 weeks, you can always call 1-800-OPEN-TABLE. We have offices in 3 countries. I'm typically on 2 to 3 of these a day. So if you need something immediately, you can reach out to them.
All right.
But that's a space for you. So we'll jump into Guest Center Web. And what I like to start with is the availability planning. So I have your floor plans, and then I've got them split into the 3 different options, and then I think all is one. So take a peek here, and this is all your access. You can move anything you need to, change anything if you want to come and adjust any of the sizes or layout, you can. So we've got the main plus bar area here. And let me know if I need to increase the size of my screen. I can do that as well.
No, I think I'm okay with what you see.
Cool.
So.
And everything looks good in terms of like table size and the names. I just saw A, D, B, and C, so I labeled them as like A1, A2, A3, A4. If that works for you guys. Or you
Yeah, that's exactly the numbers we're using for the bar as a A row,
Okay.
B row. So that's
Okay.
correct.
Perfect. So all of this can be adjusted here along the right hand side. I'm actually going to highlight all of these and label them as bar. So the table categories have two features. The first is that you can set the entire area to walk-in only, which is typical for bar seats. Or if you ever want to use that to book, someone wants to book outside, or if you want to let them know it's a high top, if you allow that to be bookable online, they'll know that they'd be sitting at the bar, counter, or outdoor seats.
Okay.
So then we've got the patio here. And these are all outdoor seats.
Yes, this is all on
Okay.
outside.
Yeah. Table all is outdoor.
Good job.
And definitely feel free to move some of these around. Sometimes with like the curved floor plans, it's a little hard to get that perfect, but feel free to poke around there. And then I didn't know what you wanted to call this space. I just did like private dining room and booths, but you can call it whatever you would like. So table 100, I noticed, I think it had 14 seats.
Yeah.
So on the right, I put minimum 10, max 14. If that's a private dining room, I'm sure you'll set it to walk-in only or non-reservable. But all of this can be adjusted here.
Good.
And everything looked good there. Oh, a 17 wasn't clear. And then like the size of the booths, are they space for 4 tops or for 6?
Everything's a 4, the 17 is a 6.
A 4.
17 is
Is
a
it-
6 top, actually, yeah.
A 6 top,
It's
perfect.
a square, but it's a 6 top.
Okay, so do you want me to put a square element there?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I can't do like a straight square, but I can do like this if that works.
Okay.
Or we can, I could also use this guy and then just say like it's a 6 top. This would be the other option. So then I can just say like it's a 6, minimum 4.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Alright.
So it's whatever your preference is there. I'll use the round one because I don't know for the booth spot, but let me label this as table 17. Alright, cool. So, if you guys do need to make any duplicates of this, like I have your whole main floor plan here, like kind of as a master minus the patio. So if you need to make a duplicate or for Valentine's Day, all your like 4s are going to be deuces, you can copy and then name specific for that day. And then you can make any changes that you might need to and assign it just to that date.
Awesome.
If you ever need help with any of this, the support team can log in, but it's pretty user-friendly. Go ahead and delete that.
Okay.
All right, then table combinations. So we'll start with the main so we can have these separated. So which tables will you push together? Can you do like anything from 41 to 47 in any combination?
Yeah, I believe so. We can just make, a 4 tops or a 6 top out of it if it's needed.
Okay, and what is the largest party size you guys want to take online?
8.
8? Okay.
Go 12.
12? Okay. So all set, max party size on the back end. That can always be adjusted by our support team, but when someone looks for a reservation larger than 12, it's going to say we do accept, like, for large reservations, please contact the restaurant. So it wouldn't give them a message that you don't have availability, just that no matter what, anything above that, you contact the restaurant. Then what we want to do is add in the combinations so that this is going to show appropriate availability and maximize your potential for revenue and bookings. So if you can do any combination from 41 to 47, we're going to hit add over here and then show suggested combos. If you pull out like 2 heads on any of these or on your combos, then you can adjust your minimum and maximum. But unless you let the system know, like 41 and 42 could go together if those are the only 2 tables left, and that's a 4 top. Once we tell it, it's going to assume there's like a pool in there or something. So I'll go ahead and add all of these in. And the more suggestions you give it, the better suggestions the system can make for you. So, and then it will like hold and reserve and make real-time updates based on your inventory, modifications and cancellations. We're always going to aim at the least amount of combos for a table. So if you can get away with like a two push together instead of 4, that will be our first suggestion. But then you can always overwrite anything that you need to. So other than 47 to 41, what other tables here can you combine?
I think the same thing with the 70s when you got a 71 and 74.
Okay.
This is also just the one. where we can have a big party sold together.
Okay, perfect.
And the same would go for 31 and 32. That's something that we can make a 12 top out of.
Okay, great. And what would be the minimum that you would want to go there? Like an 8 maybe, or do you pull out 2 heads on the 30s?
Yeah, you could probably do an 8 top out of it. That's
Okay. So let's say the minimum an 8. And all of this again can be adjusted. The more information you give us, the better suggestions we can make. Will you ever want to allow people to book at the bar for 2+ people?
I think bar I want to keep as a non-reservation. So
Okay, perfect. If you ever do, or for a special event, maybe New Year's Eve, you're doing something ticketed and you wanted to allow for like 2 tops to seat at the bar, they would be made aware they're sitting at the bar, but you would just want to add in combinations of where those could go. That's something that people will use like for ticketing or like New Year's Eve prefix menu with bubbles, something like that. Great, so then we'll go on to patio. Are you going to allow bookability outdoors?
I think so, right?
Excuse me.
Yeah,
What was the question?
Okay. Do you want people to be able to book outdoor tables
Of
online?
course, yes.
Okay, great. And are there any tables that you will push together out here?
No.
Or are they all just
Or
kind
we're
of stay
gonna
where they are?
we'll have to swill them.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I think we're gonna keep them like that. It's good that we can edit it as we go. If we're gonna decide that we want to push together, I think I got a pretty good idea of how to merge it.
Absolutely. And I did actually, I forgot I had a question on the 400s. Were those 2 tops? I just saw the little seats, but I wasn't sure if it was like a booth or were they single seats?
So it's a bench that got 3 round tables in front of it. So it's essentially it's a 6 top or an 8 top.
That much.
6. Okay, so would you seat those individually? Let me see if I can pull up. I downloaded your floor plan. 1 sec.
People just sit themselves in those seats.
I will show that. I'm going for magic.
Is it like community style seating? So maybe like parts of the outdoor could be bookable, but if it's community style, okay. So I think I see. Oh, let me move you over. Oh,
I
it's
think.
like 1, 2 guests. 1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
And will you seat these separately, or would you have 3 parties seated at this area, or would it just be?
Either way.
Probably just either way. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. If we have 2
Community?
tops
Okay.
inside, then sure we're gonna use an inside. But if somebody really insists on having a bench,
Yeah. So my suggestion for that space would be to set the 400s then to non-reservable, since it's community style seating. So then people can like make the decision and you can feel that out, but it won't be included in online inventory. If a reservation comes in that books online and they want to say like, oh, I'd like to sit over there, absolutely move them over there. But we'll set that to walk-in only for now.
Yeah.
I think that will provide a better experience, and it won't have any dining disasters if they're unhappy with that space.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the PR and booths. Do any of these tables combine, or are these all?
I think the tables, the 103. No, we never put these together for a bigger party. I think. Keith, what do you?
19 and 20 you can put together for a 6. We did that all the time.
19 and 20.
That's the 2 top and 4
19
top.
and 20.
Yeah, so that's right on the bottom
The
of it.
rest of them, no. Tables.
Okay, cool.
Table, you can manipulate the 100s, like 10, not 101 because it's round, but those 3 that are highlighted, you can. We get big parties in here all the time, and you have to be creative. So we've made 12 tops up there. We've taken tables from up there that you highlighted
Do
downstairs.
you like to, or is it like we're in a pinch?
Well, most people don't want to sit up there, but
Okay.
sometimes it's if you want to sit all together, this is where it has to be. Or we like to take those tables and bring them down to the 60s, no, to the 50s to make a 12 top down there, or a 15 top.
Okay. So let's maybe add these in then, so that you could have the availability. So 12 and then 103 and 102 for an 8, and 104 and 102 for an 8. If you need them, they're there. But if everything in the whole restaurant was booked, but only this was here, we'd want it to show that availability. For the separation, like bringing it down to the 60s, I'll allow that to be something you guys could do manually. It doesn't let us do combos across floor plans.
Okay.
But that's a great thing that you can just do, and I'll show you how to manage that in the iPad when you need to. So the max party size that we've set for online reservations that I'm going to set up in the back end is 12. This setting here, reservation settings, there's 2 features to this. So it's going to be a pop-up in the shift notes. Let me get my iPad shut so I can show you that. But it's also going to allow you to say maybe on like Friday and Saturday nights during your primetime seating hours, the largest party size you want to take from 6 until 8 is a 6 top. So you'd be able to add this additional layer that can give you like a sub shift where you push large parties that are at least available online to your shoulder hours. So if you want this number to be something different than 12 and utilize it for that feature, I'll just show you what it looks like here in the schedule as an example, but we'll get into this a little more detail. But I would say, all right, from 8 until 10 or from 8 until 9:30, we don't want large parties. So you can set up a lot more granular kind of like sub shift.
Okay.
So that's that setting, and then it also is going to be a pop-up in your shift notes. Let me see if I can move my iPad over. Sorry. We got a new screen share software, and it's not as fast for me to move over.
That's all right.
So the other feature of this is going to be a pop-up in the shift notes. So it says how many large parties you have. So if you're like consistently at 6, like pushing tables together, something like that. What number do you want me to set your large party reservation settings to?
I think an 8. That's a
8?
bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just so we always get a note, right? Because that's the number that kind of qualifies that's going to pop up in the daily notes as I'm logging into Open Table, right?
Exactly.
Great.
Precisely. Yeah. So now we're back on the schedule. So I think I just kind of grabbed some info online. 6 p.m. to midnight daily.
Yeah, that's about average.
Okay.
Maybe 5, but we're gonna work it out as we go.
Okay, so you can always adjust that if you need to start seating walk-ins, and you wanted like the availability to say like, hey, I want to seat a walk-in at 5, but I don't want online reservations. You could limit within the shift, but to be able to sit a walk-in, there has to be a shift during that time. So we'll start with 6 to midnight, and then we're gonna go in here to shift settings. These are the floor plans that we have on, so main, patio, PDR, and the booths, and then shift settings. Outdoor tables, we said those can be reservable. Bar tables, those are non-reservable. And then another exception that we wanted to add was on the patio. We're going to say the 400. So I'm going to select these here and then set these as non-reservable. And then the PDR table 100 in the kind of PDR room, do you want those to be bookable online? Or walk-in only or reserved for your event staff?
Yeah, no, the second option.
Just events.
Okay. So that's all the 100s, correct? Or just table 100?
The PDO.
Just the 100 table, the one that's the 14 top.
Okay. Perfect. So you can set these up in the same area. I like to separate them. I just think it looks better. And then are there any other tables other than those? Bar tops, 400s, and table 100 that would be reserved as walk-in only?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And then did you want to limit your large parties during a sub-shift, or that's something you can also enable later? Maybe you want to have more walk-ins or less tables available, maybe outdoors not available during this time, etc. But any of those that you would want to enable now?
Do we have to do that? Do we have to decide now, or can we just leave it like that for now?
No, I'm just saying if like you've felt the need for that, in your peak hours to kind of like put more settings on that. Know that it's an option for you in the future. For now, we'll leave it as one shift. And then here we've got your turn times. So we do have a turn time report. take a peek at it. I'll show you where it's located after you run the system and mark when people have been seated and finished. That is something, as you train your hosts, to let them know is really important for you guys to use this to its full potential. When someone's seated, do it as soon as you can when they've left, because then if you have like I think especially if it's higher, you could be missing out on potential revenue. So when you look at the report, you've got 7 to 8 set to 3, your average is 2 hours. That's an entire hour of potential lost revenue where you could have had another table seated or get an additional turn. So these are our standard turn times. Anything kind of a major outlier, or is this something you'd be comfortable starting with?
Okay.
Can I ask
what
you
do
a
you
question?
Yeah, so is this a good starting point for you, or is there anything you see that is like a major outlier, like no, 5 to 6 is 2 hours?
I guess we're gonna have to just test it out, but I think that looks correct for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's usually, when you get a 5 people party, that's usually a little over 2 hours. So
Yeah, no, it's good.
Less.
Okay,
yeah, we can always adjust that later on. If
yep, and I'll show you the report that you'll want to refer to.
Usually less.
So then pacing. The pacing is going to take into account your phone reservations, walk-in reservations, and online reservations. It's what I like to think is like comfortable for your service and kitchen staff. If 30 people are seated at 6 and 30 people are seated at 6:15, will everyone be comfortable?
Yes.
Whatever they account for, if they're like a 2-top, that number will be eaten up for the entire of that turn time. You'll never go past this number for online reservations, but you know your restaurant best. You can always overbook for phone and walk-in reservations. When maybe you're walk-in heavy, you can reduce your pacing, so that would limit your online availability. If you're walk-in heavy from 7 till 8, you could drop this down to like 20. A 30, I think, for the size of your restaurant is a very conservative place to start.
Yeah.
I can talk about some indicators of when to increase or decrease your pacing, and how to kind of look at that over the next upcoming weeks. But what are your thoughts on how many people you want to see?
I think we can go even a little higher than 30.
Like 40?
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
start with 40.
Okay, perfect. So some indicators that you might want to decrease pacing if you feel like you're getting bottlenecked at any time or walk-in heavy. If you find that your settings on like Mondays differ drastically from Fridays and Saturdays, we can set up an additional shift that just applies to that specific day.
Yeah,
Indicators that you might want to increase your pacing. I'll show you when we get onto the iPad a few places you can see this, but it might say you're like overbooking the restaurant, but you're looking around, you're like, we have so much space. That would be an indicator that you can increase your pacing.
Okay.
And then the last online reservation, do you want that to be at midnight or like 11:30?
11:30.
Okay, so I'm going to set your pacing to 0 here. You can still add walk-ins and add phone reservations if you needed to, but you won't have online availability at these times.
Okay, that's good.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I noticed, because I worked here before, that we get really, really busy sometimes. And I've seen people, like the managers that worked here before, panic trying to close open table to reservations. And they weren't
Yeah.
able to do it. Is there one button or something you can just go peep and
Yes.
close it?
Yeah, on the old system there wasn't, and so like for large reservations, I think I like walked into a restaurant in Nashville once, and they needed to do this, and they had like 5 floors, and they're freaking out and like, oh, you can't. But with Guest Center, you can. It's on the iPad. I'll show it to you real quick so you can see how easy. Actually, it takes so long for me to switch over. I'll just make sure to show you on the iPad. It's super easy. You like click into the shift, and then it's like the panic button, block all new online rezos, and you can select the time frame in which you want that to happen. And that's for day of.
Alright.
If it's for a future day and you know about it in advance, you can create a special day. So if you know that you're going to be busy, set yourself up for success. If you're on the road and you can't handle that, or you like are looking at your iPhone and you're like, oh shoot, we need to block all reservations out, you can always call support and they can put an online block through our system. But I'll make note to show that to you.
Yeah, that's something that I saw people scrambling around because, it's South Beach. People come in late, and then all of a sudden you get a couple of big parties that are late, and then that's it for the rest of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, or like you won't like be prepared for like a busload of people that are coming in, or a bachelor party or bachelorette party. Totally feel you there.
Trust me, this is the bachelorette party. capital of South Beach. We get
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, that's when I was in Nashville. That was my territory before when I used to do like sales, and I walked into a place and they had a similar thing, and then something broke in the kitchen, and they have like 5 stories, and they were clicking through everything. I was like, if you go to guest center, you can do it. That wasn't really great solution at the time, but I'll make sure to show it to you. It's so easy.
Alright.
So then for future dates, do you guys have any like buyouts planned coming up?
Not that I know of. We are just about to reopen the restaurant in a couple of weeks, and then
Okay.
everything's gonna get as we go.
Okay. Have you decided on holidays yet?
No.
Okay.
It's not busy.
Well,
Don't leave them
yeah.
closed unless you know you'll be open.
I mean, we don't have Thanksgiving. Yes, we
Normal
do.
hours.
20. We will be open. Yeah, no, we'll stay the same for now.
So you'll be open normal hours, or you won't be?
Yeah, we're not gonna change the hours.
Okay, so then we'll want to open these. So all holidays, like these main ones that are here, they're gonna close every year. So like being that in like you're in a hotel, you'll want to come in and open these. If you have custom hours, you can then adjust and say like we close early or we close late, or if you're gonna open up for like Easter brunch or something like that, you can add in any specific date. So I'll open all of these for you, and then once you get private events, you can also add them in. I have had some event planners that will use these. Like if they do a buyout like in the morning or something, you can add a shift and track the information there. Or maybe we're doing a buyout for this date. You can just mark as closed, and that will prevent anyone from your staff from making a reservation. In the future, if there's something different that's going on, like it would be a ticketed event, or if you have a prefix menu, standard menu isn't available, if you call support, they can add some messaging for that specific day, and it would say like, please note our standard menu isn't available. If you have questions, please call here. Or like New Year's Eve, you want to do something ticketed. If you sign up for a credit card service, we can do a ticketing shift as well.
What about the happy hour?
What time is your end's happy hour?
5
5
to
p.m.
7.
Pardon?
5 to 7.
5 to 7 is happy hour. So you can make a note on your profile when you have happy hour. If you need to be able to track people or like offer reservations or seat walk-ins for happy hour, we'll want to open up this shift. So we'll have to add in a shift from 5 to 6 that's non-reservable or walk-in only, so you can use the system to track.
Yeah, I have a question for you. The happy hours actually, would it be good if in that time we can actually make reservation around the bar, but only then? Can we do that?
Can you explain one more time? Sorry.
Because happy hour, we're not gonna sit on tables. It's gonna be just
you
around
just
the bar.
have it at the bar. Yeah. So what we could do, and so from 5 to 6, we could do something like this. So we could say,
I mean, you don't have to sit them at the bar at seatings, but you have to make sure they're not gonna reserve a table. That's what I mean.
that they're not gonna like take one of the tables that's already reserved, or they only
No,
sit at the bar.
They
or
only
it's
sit
just
at the
walking?
bar in happy hour, no tables.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So what you could do is we could say like, this is happy hour. It would have to be different kind of for dinner, since that overlaps with your dinner service, that second hour of happy hour.
Yeah.
But then we can make. Let me do this here.
That's very important. It's gonna be from 6 to 7. That hour we have to make sure, or even from at 5 that they don't reserve a table because they won't have a table. Sure.
The people for happy hour, or
Yeah, the happy hour people won't be able. I cannot have them reserve a table.
Happy hour is 5 to 7 at the bar only. 5 to 12 is dining room service only. So if you're happy hour, you cannot sit at a dining room table and order happy hour food.
okay. Okay, so then we'll call this the bar, and that's walk-in only. And then so dinner, the bar is non-reservable the whole shift. Yeah, so I think this will accomplish what you need. Let me publish this real quick.
Happy hour.
Yeah, what I want to do is gonna be open bar. I want to do exactly the same thing that I did for this event. So the menu that sits on my bar right now, this is what I want to do.
So do you need to track people for happy hour?
And
not especially.
how's vodka? How's
Okay,
gin,
so
how's
only if you
tequila,
need to
how's
track
whiskey?
them would we have this option. I think it's a good suggestion, so you can kind of use it year over year and be like, this is our volume for happy hour. You can use it for those things, but it can be kind of tedious or annoying for the bartender. So if you need it, it's here. We can also remove it. There's a happy hour shift, and that is from 5 until 6. It's walk-in only, and it only shows the bar. When you switch into dinner, you'll have all of the options.
Yeah.
And that would only really be, though, if you need to track the happy hour guests. Like, if they just walk in and you don't touch the system, then it doesn't really matter if we have that there or not. And your staff will just need to know, like, if you're for happy hour and you're at the bar, you can't have this menu. Like, that's something that would be an internal training aspect about who gets seated where for happy hour and what menu items they can have.
Okay.
So if you need to track it, I can leave this on. What I'll do is I'm just going to deselect that. Do you want that there now, or how do you feel about it?
Yes, we need that.
Okay. Okay, so I'll leave it there, and then play around with it and let me know kind of what your thoughts are around it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, of course. So that's all the availability planning. The next thing we're going to take a quick peek at is the reporting. Nothing really valuable to look at yet because we don't have any data, but you'll see the bones of everything that you have available to you. In addition to what you see here, our account management team has some more robust reporting. So if there's something more specific that you're looking for, 6 months from now, you can always touch base with your account manager, and we're always working on building new reports. You can leave us feedback about them. One that I've mentioned a few times, it's really important for your overall revenue, is the turn times. So you'll see your average, your setting, and your difference. When your turn time is a lot longer than it actually is, you're missing out on potential revenue. When it's shorter, you might have some dining disasters or some overlap. You can then start to peek at this from day to day, and maybe you'll want to take a look at what your Friday and Saturday is versus what the rest of the days of the week are. Guest frequency reports, reservation reports. So much data here, but not, again, that interesting yet. The support site I showed you does have YouTube videos that go over the details of these reports. Use them at your leisure. So we'll jump down to restaurant settings. Just a few things here we'll want to set up. The first option, restaurant location, doesn't change unless you pick and move your restaurant up to Denver or elsewhere, which is not going to happen. Restaurant passcode, if you want to protect blocking the tables, that one button that we just talked about to block all online reservations, if you want that to only be able to be done by a manager or someone with a 4-digit passcode, you can enable this. You're going to send an email to who's ever logged in. We'll set up your logins here in just a moment, and then you can dictate which things you want to be password protected.
Okay.
Tag management, so 2 types of tags added by your staff to reservations. Visit tags are just for a single visit. You can hide anything you don't need, so if you don't have a smoking area, you can come in here and label that as hide. Definitely optimize these lists, as it will provide better guest book for your staff and encourage the use of the tags. Guest book tags are going to be for every visit. So if Anna is marked with an allergy, every time that she comes in, you'll know that they have a shellfish allergy. You can add anything custom that you would like, so like hotel guests, or if there's a VIP group, or if people are requesting to sit out on your lawn area, you can add in a seating type request and just kind of help with your service and labeling. Guest SMS messaging, there's 2 features to this. Do you guys have a reservation phone number I can add here?
A what?
Your reservation phone number?
So the restaurant number, right? Where people
Yeah.
call to place a reservation? Sure. If I remember it only from top of my head. 1 second.
This is still the same
No
number.
worries.
Let me just pull this up. So, alright, 305-534-2536.
Okay. And so this is just to set up the account with our short code provider. So the first feature is for your phone reservation. So I book a phone reservation. You say, hey, Anna, do you want a text message reminder? One day before, I'll get a text that says, please, your reservations to 8 p.m., 2 people, text back 1 to confirm or 9 to cancel, and then it will automatically update their status in the reservation list. If it's something where you want your staff to call out for every reservation, this can save you guys a bunch of time, and then the guest decides, yes, I want to text, or no, I don't. Is that something you'd like to use?
Yeah, I think so. That's going to be helpful.
Okay. Cool, and I'll show you how to set that up, or how to use it in the reservation flow. And then waitlist messaging, if you want the option to text guests they've been added to the waitlist, we'll turn on waitlist messaging. It's automated in the way that you add them to the waitlist, they get the text, then they have the option to remove themselves from the waitlist. So if someone goes to the bar and starts drinking and they aren't going to be seated or disappear, they can remove themselves from the waitlist. And then you send the text, hey, please head to the host stand, your table is ready. Please text back 1 to let us know you're on the way, 9 if plans have changed. So I'll walk you through the flow of the wait list when we get onto the iPad. This will just allow you to text them.
Okay.
So then credit cards, we partner with Stripe to do the credit card vaulting, and if you need to charge for no-shows, it is separate from your point of sale in the sense that you do all, it's PCI compliant. They'll put in their credit card number on OpenTable, or if you put it into the iPad, it's then hosted through the Stripe system. So you can sign up here and learn more. There's no cost to actually vault the credit cards or hold them, which is very helpful for large parties or for those Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, for people to not no-show or ghost you without confirmation. But if you do charge the card, it's 2.4% credit card processing fee and a 30-cent transaction fee.
Okay.
So keep that in mind, but you can learn more and sign up here. But most of the restaurants I work with simply hold the card at no cost, and that does the trick.
All right.
Group settings. Do you guys have any sister locations in the area that you in the hotel that you would share settings with?
No, I don't think so. We're just gonna be as a one independent restaurant right now.
Okay. All right, and then hold on one sec. Sometimes I get stuck in this section. All right, partner services. So if it's kind of like Stripe, if you want to use this, you can. It's email marketing integration, 500 free emails per month. Anything beyond that is prorated, so you can sign up and learn more. If you guys have a separate email marketing tool like Constant Contact or SendGrid, you guys can export your list of diners who have accepted email marketing from you.
All right.
And then profiles, so whatever information, if you want to email over to me, or content, photos, you can send that over. You can pump this information in yourself. So restaurant description, I'll go ahead and add the hours here real quickly. This is everything that's OpenTable facing. So we want to put probably happy hour from 5 to 7, and then we can put dining hours from 6 to midnight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, midnight is not 7 days a week. It's only Friday, Saturday.
We did not set that up here. I think one sec, let me go back. So what are the hours Friday to Saturday?
Friday, Saturday,
or Monday
6
to Friday?
12. 6
Okay,
to
so
midnight.
Friday, Saturday is 12.
But the other days is 11.
Okay, so when we were looking at the schedule and I confirmed the hours, I don't think that we discussed that, so let's make sure that that's set up correctly. So 12, and then... Okay, so I'm going to publish this real quick. What do you need? Alright, so what I'll do, I just want to confirm that we have this correct, and then I can go back and change it. So Thursday. So last online reservation for Sunday through Thursday, since you close at 11, do you want that to be at 10:30?
Then 45.
10:45. Okay. So I'll just set that one thing up, and then I'll come back in here and I'll copy all of the settings that we changed.
Thank
But
you.
I'll just. Alright, so hours, we've got happy hour that starts at 5. That floor plan is available till 6. Dinner hours are from 6 until 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and from 6 until midnight on Friday and Saturday.
Happy hour is 5 to 7.
Right, so we can't actually overlap those. Like, you're still going to have availability onto the floor plan to seat people at the bar for happy hour, but we can't have just the happy hour. So what I did with happy hour is that you'll have access to this. It's non-reservable. The bar seats are going to be the only ones that show up if you need them.
Fine.
Starting at 6 p.m., you'll have access to the standard floor plans. You'll still be able to track people are at the bar seats. But for your host staff, that will be a very clear indicator that you only have bar seats available, so don't see people at the other tables because they're not on guest center. Based on what you mentioned about the happy hour, I don't think that it's necessary unless you want it for reporting purposes or for, year after year look at like your volume to seat the guests that you have for the happy hour, but it's there and available if you need it.
Okay.
And see what the experience is like. If you guys want to change it up or if you end up opening at 5, we can talk about how you would change that or make any adjustments.
Perfect.
All right. So then back down to restaurant profile. Again, send me any content that you have, or you can come in here and add all of this in. So parking details, websites. I'll pull what I can get from your website. The one thing that was hard, the photos were all very small, and when I tried to increase them in size, they got pixelated. So if you could email me some photo content, I can upload that gallery.
Cool.
And then what would be your primary cuisine type?
It's Mediterranean.
American.
Mediterranean, so, just a couple countries out
And
there.
What is it called?
anything else that comes to mind, or if you want to take a peek through here later, you absolutely
I
can.
mean,
There's a ton.
it's Greek, Moroccan cuisine. That's kind of majority dishes that you're gonna see right here.
Okay, perfect. Gluten-free menu options, full bar.
Yes, definitely full bar, wine, corkage fee.
And you guys do
Yes.
corkage feet? Okay.
Mhm.
And then maybe from looking at your pictures, casual elegant, or elegant dining.
Casual elegant. Yeah. Let's see.
Okay. I'll usually pair that with smart casual, or I think there's, smart casual.
Yeah, just no shirt, no
Okay.
service. Standard.
Okay, outdoor dining, bar seats, private room. Anything else that fits the bill?
No, I think this is all we got.
Dancing.
Yeah.
Dancing?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Cool.
Beer
Takeout.
garden? We kind of have that.
Takeout.
Not for the moment.
Okay. Wheelchair access
Yes.
and non-smoking.
Yes.
Cool. And then if you guys do private events, which obviously you do, you can add some color about that here, and then some contact information. I think it has like 100 character count. I don't want to make you guys watch me type. It's pretty painful. Same thing for catering.
Just going back.
And then profile photo, you'll be able to update your main photo here, but send me over as many photos as you can and I'll add it to the gallery and pick a profile photo, but then later on you can manage that main one. Account management team can help you update all of the galleries, and we're updating our Instagram API currently. They change that frequently, so hopefully that will be done by end of quarter. And then to add this to your website, I'll send a separate email with this information. So it'll be the little widget that is the lower cost. If you guys have like a Facebook page that you'd like to link as well, I'll send instructions on how you can book now from Facebook.
Okay.
And then menus, this is to embed your menu into the profile. Give it 48 hours and we'll link up with our partner single platform, and you can upload up to 5 PDFs.
Oh, man.
And then marketing, a few things I like to point out because they're free: seasonal promos and featured lists. So anything that fits the bill. You guys have outdoor dining. Cocktails are probably great. If you're good for business, gluten-free options, vegetarian-friendly. Sounds like you have all of those. Just hit join and then let some people know about your plant-friendly menu. And that will show in the South Beach area a shorter list of restaurants that fit that category. Seasonal promos, so even if you don't have a special menu or a special event, if you're open that day, definitely add yourself to the list, and then it will have like a highlighted panel on the Open Table website for restaurants that are open on these days. Everything else here where you have to learn more, get more information, these are additional marketing tools. A lot of them can be very helpful, like if you want to promote private dining. If you Google search Miami private dining, the top hit is going to be Open Table, and it's kind of a lead generation tool. But I think the rep for you guys would be this Fabiana. So if you're interested in any of this, you can reach out and she'll connect with you. So then we'll jump to accounts and get everyone set up that needs to be. Do you guys have like an info address that I can use to set up for front of house access? That one we usually do front of house level, and then that can be used to log into the iPad. It would limit anyone to only front of house on Guest Center Web. The iPad app will be the same for either level of access. Do you have like info at...
As of right now, we do not really have a website or email account set up just yet.
Okay, so we can, once you get that, just do like front of house staff and then add in the email address and select front of house as your login option. For now, we'll just get you set up and then we can get everyone else a login as well. I do suggest having a login for each person, especially if you're going to be using the iPhone or the Android app. So for iPhone users, it is a fully functional app where you can status, add reservations, update. For the Android users, it's read-only at this time, but it will soon be available to have more actionable items. If you are an Android user, you can simply go to getcenter.opentable.com if you need to do things like add reservations from your phone, but still download the app because it's got notifications and things like that. So we've got you added, and then is there anyone else that you want me to add right now, or do you want to add these later?
If you can just add my lead hostess, Paola.
Paola? I spell that right?
Yep.
And last name?
Nazario, Nazario.
And email address?
Paola dot Nazario 1 @gmail.com.
Okay, so you'll each get a setup, a login setup. If you don't see it, check your junk or spam folder, especially for Gmail. And then you can add additional users at your leisure. So I can give you both all access, and then you can add new users here.
All right. Yeah, we can do that. Cool.
So then reviews, once reviews start to populate, you can respond to them. So only diners that have been seated or assumed seated are asked to leave a review with Open Table, and then you can send them a private response through this portal. I think next week we're releasing the option to submit a public response as well.
Okay.
So once you start to get reviews, you can respond to them here. And then guest communication, so this will be messaging that goes out after someone books online. So if there's anything custom that you want to let people know, usually I'll do something like this. I'll usually do something like that. If there's other things, like we only seat entire parties, or, you know, we have free parking here, you can add additional color to that confirmation.
Very good.
All right. So I'll pop up to the front of house quickly and show you one or two things here, and then we're going to move over to the iPad. So we'll head over to dinner. The one thing about having us add this happy hour shift is that it's always going to show up first. So if that starts to be like annoying for you guys, or you want it to be the full floor plan, let us know and we'll just update your settings. Because it's always going to be the first shift that pops up. So if you decide, okay, well, I like that happy hour is there, but I want to see the whole floor plan or all of the floor plans, just let us know and we'll add them in.
Okay.
So you can search for guests here by name or phone number. The add table button is going to be to see to walk in. Most likely you'll be doing that from the iPad itself, but if you ever need to do it, maybe you started an iPad update and it's not done, you need to be able to see guests from a laptop, you can still do that here. Book a reservation, click on the book, super tricky, pick the date, the amount of guests, where they'll be seated. So if they'd like to sit outside, you can do that here, and then we'll add in the guest name. Anna's never dined with us before, so here, once I put in the phone number, it's going to say permission to text. Yes. If you want to add an email, definitely do that. Referrals, if you do any type of concierge bookings, you can add your referrals. And then visit notes, guest book notes. Exclude party from cover pacing limits. That might be something that you want to use for your when you have something in a private dining room or the private event space. If you don't want it to affect that 40 covers that we set every 15 minutes, but they're going to be taking that whole room, you can exclude them from pacing.
All right.
And then you'll check the box to complete the reservation. Shift overview, you can export or print this if you need to. And then this little book with the explanation point, I'm going to create some of these problem reservations in the iPad. Something that might show up here if you closed for a private event and had an outstanding reservation on that day already, it'll just let you know it falls outside of the shift hours. Or if you did like a reservation for 25 people, we never went into the combinations and said where 25 guests would be seated. So it would show as a problem reservation until you assigned it to a table.
All right.
So now what we'll do is we'll flip and switch over to the iPad part of the training. If you guys want to take a quick break or go grab coffee, make a phone call or something, it's a good time to do that, or we can just power through.
What do you guys think? Yeah, I think we're just gonna stick around just to get it finished because we got plenty of work waiting afterwards.
Absolutely. And I'll do a time check with you. So, and it kind of depends on what works for you guys in terms of how much time you have or want to spend on the iPad part of the training. What do you guys think? We can usually get a pretty thorough training done in about 30 minutes, but we have an hour allotted to us for the rest of the time.
I mean, let's just continue with that, and if there's gonna be some questions or anything else that we gotta go more into details, then we can stretch that time a little bit. But
Okay.
I agree. I think half hour should be enough.
Okay, perfect. So, if you have your iPad in front of you, just get into the, make sure you're in the demo mode. I'm gonna switch my screen share here.
Yeah, I got my iPad out and I'm just logged in a demo.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe I'm just gonna log out and log back in again, so kind of start with a fresh demo.
Perfect.
Alright, demo it is then. I'm looking on your timestamp. I guess you're not in the same time zone that we are.
No, I'm in Denver.
Alright.
Yeah, so that's you'll notice that, and then maybe when you're playing around the demo mode, the timestamp will also have like guests that have yet to be seated.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of talk about that. It's nice that it does it because it creates some overlap and will indicate like when you might have an overlap on a table. So it kind of helps us in the long run. What we're going to start with from the menu is just help and feedback. So you want to reiterate the support team at 1-800 Open Table. So if you call in the middle of the night, you might get someone in the London or Australia office. Always good to go for media assistance. I'm available if you guys need additional help for the next 2 weeks. And then your account manager can also help with more marketing type things or looking at your books after a few months and like talking about pacing, things like that. As the Open Table community is going to link you to the support site that I showed you at the beginning of the call. and then access Guest Center Web. If you need to log in and make changes to your floor plan, you can definitely do that from the iPad. It just will open up Safari or Chrome if that's your preferred browser on the iPad, and then you can log in from there.
Very good.
Limit feedback, definitely let us know what would improve your experience. Chances are there might be like a solution that we've already come up with for what you're trying to achieve, or there might even be that feature that we have already, or it could be very close to being released. So it's always worth a call to the support team to ask as well. So we'll go to settings, and these are going to be for your demo mode. Once you get logged into your live system, you want to go back to settings first thing and set them up to your preferences. So the first one will enable light mode. It just puts a white background in the reservation list. You can play around with what you prefer. And if you have multiple iPads down the road or now, you can have different preferences per iPad. So I like that one on. Display recommended table assignments. That's going to say this is a 2-top. It's going to work at table 41 or 31. And then you can always assign to a different section. And display server sections on the floor plan. I'm sure you guys do set server sections or rotating. So if you want to see those on the floor plan, you'll toggle that on as well.
Cool.
So user action logging. If you guys do call confirmations, I definitely suggest doing left message and call to confirm. That will timestamp that with the name of who on your team has done that. I think these are helpful for training. If you see Anna never asked for an email address, and that's something that our marketing team really wants, you can say, hey Anna, why aren't you asking for emails? Maybe try asking, what is your best email? Tends to get a better response than can we email you. Also for cancellation, can add some ownership to it. If you cancel the reso and they show up, we'll actually spoke with Paola last week and canceled your reso. We'll get you seated as soon as we can. So pick and choose what you would like to use, and then you can manage the users for that feature under user management. Add a new user. If they're a server, you'll check that box and then add them in. And you can delete from here as well. Chip printing. Are you guys familiar with the chip printers from old open table experiences?
Yeah, of course. Very useful tool.
Is it something that you guys are interested in, or that you have decided you want?
Not right in the beginning. Maybe later.
Okay, cool. If it's something you'd like, the support site has a list of compatible chip printers and the links to purchase them, and then you can easily link them. It's like Bluetooth. I find that a lot of restaurants that maybe thought they wanted them don't really need them, because you can have multiple access points, and everyone who needs to know that information can have like another iPad or use it from their phone, things like that. Notifications, if you'd like pop-ups, these are in-app only. So if you're off on Spotify looking for a new song to play for tonight, you won't get the pop-up. But if it's helpful for you to know when there's any modifications, you can set up the time frame in which you'd like to be notified. So in Anna's demo restaurant, we do call confirmations 2 days out. So I want to know any changes that happened in that time. From settings, we'll pop up to server sections. So we have a 3-shift restaurant here. Yours will obviously just have dinner. We have our lunch shift. Maybe I'm going to do something different for dinner, and I can tap over here. Simply by tapping on the table icon next to their name, you can assign tables. First thing, whenever you add from the user management, it picks like the ugliest color. So I'm going to update to purple, and then I can assign tables from here. So I'll click on the table, and then just click into each of these. I like to use this icon if it's a very busy night, or if you've got maybe like newer servers, you can see anything that's kind of assigned in each section and the turns for those tables. So if you see that Anna's new and she's got like a pretty big section that's super busy, we kind of want to take some of that away. Maybe you make some adjustments here. And then you can set that up for future dates as well. If you guys do a rotating, or if you cut someone mid-shift, I'll show you from the floor plan how you can manage any changes there. And then add new server can also be done from this corner, upper right-hand corner. You can put the name and select the color here. Any questions on the server section?
No.
We can remove server. Can we add one?
Yeah, so if you want to add a server, you'll do that in the upper right-hand corner. So pick the name, Harry Potter. He's now a server. If I need to delete someone, Jerry, he's moved on. He moved to Denver because it's awesome. You can delete that server.
Okay.
And then from the main floor plan, I'll show you the server button as well. You can see and make sure that things are fair. Always comes up. How many guests they've had total, how many they currently have. So you can look at those shift stats for that server from the main floor plan here. We'll just keep going up and check out guest book. Recently updated guests will be up top. I'm going to just take a peek at anyone. You'll have a different list on your demo mode. But let's say Idella here has questions about a reservation. Any of their history is going to be in the clock icon, and then you can use the down arrow to toggle and access that reservation. So they have a party for 2 on November 28th, but they've called and they want to add 2 more people. Their kids are going to be in town. Oops. Sometimes I get click happy here. And I do want to also note, if you've been playing around in the demo mode a lot and you're like, well, that was kind of buggy or that was weird, like something was slow, demo mode kind of does that. So know that the live system won't have some of those like little behaviorisms you might see. So Idella here wants to change the amount of guests they have. Anything that's underlined can be updated. So we'll move to 4 here, and then I did ask to say who changes that. So then in the history of that guest, I'll see that Anna changed the party size.
Got it.
If you need to change the turn time, you can do that. Maybe there's a note on this visit note, like they have a special event or they like to camp out, increase their party size, 2 hours maybe. So that's from guest books. So you can have a auto merge option. So if you have one guest that has 2 profiles, one with a home phone and one with a cell phone, if you update their information and set it to match, as long as there's no weird characters or spaces, it will automatically merge their profiles within 24 hours. Book a new reservation for a guest that calls in is going to be the ellipsis on the far right hand side. You'll make a reservation. We'll pull up the calendar. This is the first time we're seeing on the iPad. They want to come in for our tasting menu tonight. I have a shift note. $8 per person, optional wine pairing. You have 2 guests. You can then select the time. Here you see that pacing along the right hand side. It can help you push people to an earlier or later time based on how many covers you already have. You want to dine at 7:30, and all of Ruth's information is already in there. And then I can complete that resume. So then we'll move on to shift overview. So some of what you'll see on shift overview is going to be similar to what's available on the iPhone and the Android app for a manager look at your night. So I'm in the current shift, we know because this is green. If I toggle to another date, I'm outside the current shift. So I can tap back here, get back to now. It's 12:06. We have this many covers. This is where they've come from, online, and then our total party sizes. The notebook icon just to the right, this is where you can add your notes. Special occasion event notes are going to pop up when you book the reservation, so you can share that information with the diner. General notes will not. You don't need to let them know that you're stocking condiments and polishing silverware. I think shift overview can also be helpful for anyone on your kind of like kitchen staff. If you had an 86 list, you can get them a manager app login and they can add notes so that everyone's kind of talking and sharing information. Adding a note, super easy. Tap add note, and it's going to be similar experience on the iPhone. Select the time, the date, all day. We have a Halloween party. So the pumpkin. And then this here is the button that you guys were excited about to pause all reservations. So it is only in the current shift or that same day. So if it's for later this evening, we're looking at our reports and we saw, in our dinner shift, like we're way too busy. We don't want to get anything else because we think there might be a lot of walk-ins. As long as you go to the current shift of that day, you can still set the block. So the ellipsis on the far right-hand side is the block reservations button. Reservations from now until end of the day, or maybe just from now until dinner. And then we'll block reservations. You'll see this orange bar up top. And all new online reservations have been blocked.
Okay.
That'll prevent anything new from coming in. In addition to that, a really easy way, if you need to block like a section, is going to be from timeline view. This is like a grid-like view, very linear. Thinkers might be more attracted to this feature, but I like to use it for maybe blocking large groups of tables, multi-table bookings, and table assignments. So maybe we know that on Halloween, we're going to be really busy for dinner, and we just want to set a block. We can select the time that starts by tapping our finger into that section, hit block table, and then just tap down the timeline list and set up the block for that section.
Got it.
So we just wanted to block for 2 of our sections. That's a really quick, easy way to do that as well. And if you're not blocking for the entire section, or you're blocking for a future date. Back on the current shift, maybe I'll go to dinner. I like to use this space for table assignments. So I'll always start with kind of the closest reservation or the earliest reservation with the table request. You'll see that little icon with the table, and they need a high chair. So maybe the best spot for a table with a high chair is table 13. Drag them and drop them up there. Next one, Rose Miller. They need a booth. The booth is going to be table 13 as well. So maybe I'm going to drag and drop here. Anything that's in gray is going to update in real time to another table. Once it's assigned, it won't move. So if someone has a request, those are the ones that I suggest, like they want to sit on the patio, that you'll do assignments for. And then everything else will kind of just move around in real time as to what's going to be most efficient. Mm-hmm. So if someone ends up staying later or their turn is going past what it normally is, we'll make better suggestions if you leave those unassigned if they can be. This is another area that you can look at for the pacing, like a really quick view of all of your covers and look around, like maybe you're wanting to see if you should do a lot less or a lot more. You're packed at 40 of 40, but you still have space. So that would be like a place you can look to indicate that you would want to increase that pacing number. So now we'll pop up to floor plan. This is where you're going to spend the most time, floor plan and list if it's your preference. And we'll seat some guests. I'm actually going to remove my reservation block just so we can easily do that. So you can actually tap back here on the logo. Oh, one sec. That's weird. That's coming through my iPad. That usually doesn't happen. And this is a very good example. I was able to see their text. They aren't able to get their password reset, and that's actually the best thing that's handled by support. But I can't call or help this restaurant because I'm on a call. So a good example of when you need something immediately. They've called me 3 times. Call support. I'm gonna go ahead and resume reservations. So let's seat some of our guests here. Drag and drop is something you can do. So Raina, maybe I want to label that she's arrived. You can swipe to the right and mark their status. Glenn, he let us know he's running late. You can also tap into any of these and pull out the reservation tile and status from here. There's some more specific statuses, partially arrived. You can say the amount of time they're running late, things like that. So those are some options for you guys to use, but the swipe is always going to show the most common. We'll go ahead and seat our first guest, Raina. We're just going to hold down onto the name and then drag and drop over to table 13.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing around with a demo. I know I can do that, or I can just click the table symbol on the side, right? And
exactly. If you need to partially seat a guest, you'll use the arrow. So if this is an 8 top, only 4 of the guests are there, I can partially seat them, and it's still going to show them up top for the host to know there's someone at Glenn's party that needs to go to table 32. So you can swipe to the right and move them to the seated position. Other things that you might have noticed, all of these different labels, so you can get a quick glance at where they've come from. Obviously the open table symbol they booked online. Seating request is the purple icon. Special events is this little sparkly thing. Birthday, I think there's a champagne glass. Then if you move down into the seated section, you can take a peek at the different status options you have. Is this something that you guys will find useful, marking where people are at, if they're paid, dessert, app?
Well, I know we had an option where that will be linked with my micros. Now, the thing is, we most likely won't be using micros, so with that said, I don't think we're going to be using, for the most part, from my experience, the hostess usually just uses this to just mark the table that it needs to be, that is finished, busing needed. So
then that's really all you need is the seated and finished. Now that you can walk around with the iPad, or you can have multiple iPads or mark from your phones. Managers could walk around in status if it's helpful. A lot of times I think people, if they don't use it often, they'll use some of them. Paid is good for people that are camping and they're not leaving, so you can indicate to that host, Yeah, they're way past their turn time. You can tell by this white bar that goes through the middle that they've maxed out on the turn time for a 2-top, but they're not going anywhere. So use those as you see fit. It is pretty easy to just like walk around, swipe to the right, update their status, or tap into any table. But when you guys decide what your next POS is, I mean, there's a few that we have integrations with, like Aloha, I think Posy Touch, Squirrel. So if that's something that you're interested in, I think Robert can definitely talk with you about that, or what our compatible ones are, or once you pick yours out, if we have an integration with them.
What about Cinetouch?
Yeah.
What is it?
Cinetouch. This is some kind of
Cinetouch?
a new system that's, I think it's pretty local. These are the guys that are here in Florida. I think Florida only. So I doubt that you guys
Is
integrate.
Cinetouch the actual point of sale, or is it the dealer reseller that
Yeah,
you
this is
work
the
with?
actual program system. We're going to be using the iPads that are just going to have that running on it as a POS.
Okay, yeah, so if it's like something that's proprietary to them, I think the likelihood would be very low. I haven't heard of it, and I see most of them. We have like the major players like Micros, Aloha,
Gotcha.
Squirrel, things like that.
Yeah, but that integration isn't really a deal breaker for us. So it's,
Yeah, for sure. Maybe at a later date it'll be easier for smaller POSs to integrate. As you scroll down, you'll have your removed reservations. So one of the things that might pop up if people have canceled a reservation and then they show up anyway, or they no-show, like maybe this person said they were running late and then we marked them as a no-show. And then they actually end up coming in anyway. So we'll see Morgan Cruz, and then we're like, okay, well, you're really late. Let's mark you as arrived. When you pull someone out of this removed list, so they've either canceled or they've no-showed, they get taken out of inventory. It's going to mark them as a problem reservation. It's not saying necessarily that you don't have availability for it, but it's saying, like, you should check. We don't know, because we didn't plan for them to be an hour and 15 minutes late. So you'll see down here, in the problem reservation book, Morgan Cruz's reso is there. And then you can go in and assign a table and check to see that you have space. We do, so we can let her know, like, yeah, we can seat you now. If it was for a future time, you can just pre-assign, or you can just seat them now here at table 23.
all right.
Let's see. Some other things that you might need are wait lists. So let me seat some guests here and see who I can wait list. 2-tops. All right, so we have 2 guests walk in. Let me look back. The wait list button is going to be this little clipboard looking button. That's to seat someone or a walk-in or a wait list. If it's just a walk-in, you can say the amount of guests. It won't have the red dot next to it. If you don't have availability, it's going to have the red dot, meaning that there's a wait. Based on your turn times and the last time you sat your 2-tops, you'll see when they need to be added to the wait list. And then you can pump in their name. I would suggest using a single-use profile. That's not going to add them to the guest book, and normally if you're waitlisting, you don't have time to get their email address, or they won't want to give it to you. So we'll do a single-use profile, and then ask, hey, Anna, do you want a text message when your table is ready? She says yes. Type in the cell phone number, and then permission to text. You will see these different country codes here, so I'm sure you guys get a lot of foreign visitors. One of the things to note, so we'll send them a message. Our short code will message them, but we can't guarantee that they're set up to receive it.
Right.
So if you're testing it out, just have them wait and see if you get the text. If it doesn't work, come up with an alternate plan or tell them to check back in 20 minutes. So we'll add Anna to the wait list here. If you guys start a wait list like just for a certain area, so maybe like your outdoor area, you can add in a tag for patio requested. So maybe you have 2 people on your wait list, someone who is preferential to the outside area and someone who doesn't care, they'll take first available. You could add this little tag, and that could help you differentiate between those 2. So now that Anna's been added to the wait list, she gets a text. Anna, you've added to the wait list. We'll text you when your table is ready. If plans change, text back 9. She can remove herself from the wait list. And then it will count down from here, the amount of time they've been waiting and what they were quoted at. All of this is also something you can peek at from the list view if you like everything side by side. So then you can kind of scroll through and still status from here, walk around, see guests from here, whole 9 yards. So if you prefer, you can do that from this side.
Cool.
So then when Anna's table is ready, she's set to go to table 22. It looks like Michelle, her check has been dropped, and they just got up and they finished. So we'll see table 22 is now available. I can text Anna the table is ready. So you can swipe to the right and just hit send, or tap on the name and message guest table is ready. It's then going to send an SMS. Your table is ready. Please text back 1 to confirm that you're on your way. If plans change, text back 9. We want to keep giving people that option if they are just going to be ghosting you to remove themselves. So then you see with this checkbox and this icon that they have texted back. So then I can go and drag and drop and see Anna at table 22.
Okay.
As I pull over to this side, one of the things you'll see is who's next to seat. The next to seat is Gerard. He doesn't have a two-top available in his area. So I'm going to go ahead and put Anna in William section. Your server sections here can also be managed from this icon down at the bottom. You see who's next to seat and then any unassigned servers. Maybe William gets sick and you cut him for the day so you can clear the assignments. And then anyone, if someone new is coming on, you can assign them. Or if you're switching off between Gerard and Catherine, you'll be able to see who got the last table once you sat them and then assign accordingly.
All right.
And then, let's see. Was there anything else that, like, going through your demo mode that you had questions about, or maybe that I haven't reviewed?
No, well, at least for right now, I see everything that I've been just had a chance to play around with, like you kind of covered right now. So.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that's like a very intuitive system, but also a kinetic learning experience. Like, we can sit here until we're both blue in the face and play on the iPad, but until you're actually doing it and using it, does it really like sink in and settle in? Is there anything that maybe I can do as like a refresher or show you again?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If, let's say, like a mom, they usually give their phones to their children, and they receive the text and the child presses 9, it'll automatically show us that it's canceled, correct?
So it will show that it's been removed from the wait list, and then they get a text back that says you've been removed from the wait list.
Okay.
If this is done by accident, please contact the restaurant.
Okay, perfect.
So it will let them know that they've been removed, and then I think, if that's an issue, they hopefully that's obvious to them that like they text back or their kid texted back that you guys didn't do anything. But you would be able to see in the history of the guest that they removed themselves from the wait list. So like instead of saying cancel, it would say like removed from wait list via SMS.
Okay.
I have a question for you too.
Yeah.
When you were saying about people were making a reservation, they can make one for inside or outside. Now, if somebody wants to make one for outside, do they? Because I've not seen anybody be able to, make a definite reservation anywhere in a restaurant. I've seen people request, like, oh, I'd like to sit outside, or I'd like to sit inside, or I'd like a table by the water or something. Is it similar to that, or is it when they make it for outside, that's their table outside, period?
So the way that it works, and if you allow that, I would suggest we can add something like outside tables are first come, first serve, like weather permitting, obviously. So the way that it works is when, let me see if I can find, there's a sushi restaurant I usually use to show, but let me look. I actually think I have a screenshot of it. So when they're booking online, it would just say, these are the 2 types of tables available, outdoor or regular, or bar or high top. And then they can select that. It would then say outdoor booked. So it would say like next to their tag outdoor booked, and then suggest a table in the outdoor space. So we've labeled which tables are outdoor, they book outdoor, and then we're going to suggest a 4-top in that space that works for the guest. I think it is helpful, to definitely say like have inclement weather that happens often. It's first come, first serve. But let me find a screenshot here.
I ask you that because there's some times of the year where it's really busy here, and if people say, oh, I want to sit inside, and inside is full, and somebody says, well, I'm going to make a reservation outside, and then they go outside and they don't like it, or it's too... A lot of people will sit outside here, and then they'll want to come back inside. And I know it's Miami and not Denver, and it's the weather's pretty good here, but there's certain times of the year...
Totally. So I mean, it's something that you guys might want to feel out. It's like if you want to give that option to your diners and say that they can book outside, and then it's going to suggest that for you. If it's something that happens a lot, I do suggest using it. So they see this. we select a table type, and then it's just gonna make the suggestion. If it's something where you feel like diners are like frequently like upset about it, or they didn't get the right information, you can add something to the confirmation message and say like, please note, outdoor tables are first come, first serve. We do our best to honor any table requests. Adding things like that can help. You're always going to have that one or two people, no matter what we do to prevent it, they're going to like blow their lid. But I think that this can be helpful for you guys if you do have that request a lot, because then it's going to make that recommendation without you having to go in and read every single note. They want outside or they want inside.
When we were open before, it really was never a problem. We would ask them when they would come here, would you like to sit inside or outside? It was never an issue.
Yeah, and regardless of what they say online, you can always move them. So if they said outdoor booked and they're like, actually, we'd love to sit at that booth over there, if you have that open, like you can move their assignment, change their assignment, and handle that when they walk in, like you kind of do already with phone reservations.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You guys got any other questions? Anything else that came up? That's good that you say we got about 2 weeks to just get familiar with it, and then if we're gonna have to bother you again with the questions, we will.
Yeah, no, absolutely do. Let me know. And when are you guys when are you starting to add reservations?
Well, the restaurant is planned to be open on November 20th. So we probably gonna start getting a reservation from November 20th on.
Okay, so when are you gonna start adding in phone reservations?
Can we start like 2 weeks before, but just starting that date, like reserve after November 20?
Yeah, so you guys can let me know. So one of the things that I don't know if you read in the emails, but I also was out of the country, so I couldn't respond. I just got back in town yesterday, so I couldn't respond and reiterate it, is that billing technically starts the day that you guys are open, but since it's 20 days, I don't know if you wanted to give me a 2-week time frame and you don't actually, it's November 20th could be a little bit of a moving target. If you just want to let me know 2 weeks before you're going to open, the day you want to go online, I'll start billing on that day instead of today.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
But you won't be able to access, if I do that, you won't be able to access the system yet. Or you shouldn't be able to. You might be able to, but don't tell anyone if you can. I'll look the other way.
I guess I can just keep practicing on a demo then.
Practice in the demo. You can go into Guest Center Web if you want and fill out any of the content. I can help with that, but if you want to, send me over photos, that's what I'll need. And then just give me a heads up, maybe when do you think you'll have a more solid date, so then I'll know when to follow up with you.
Like I'm saying, the plan is to open on the 20th. Hopefully that won't move, but that's kind of what we're sticking with.
Okay, cool. So if I haven't heard from you by November 10th, I'll reach out.
Wonderful.
And what you can do is just say, hey, we're ready. This is the solid date. We're gonna let the public know. Then we can activate you and block online reservations until that date. Or I can activate you and just show your profile. And then when you have a more solid date, we can kind of make a decision from there and build your book in advance.
All right. Yep. So we're gonna be in touch.
Perfect. Yep, sounds good. Send me some photos if you can, and then I'll just follow up November 10th if I haven't heard anything. When you're playing around the demo mode, let me know. And then use that support site, so just support.opentable.com. You can just even Google search OpenTable support and find all of those resources there. And then I'll also email you the information to add to your website, and you can forward that on to your web design team or anyone that might need it.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, it's great speaking with you guys today. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye now. Did you just wave, Keith?
I did.
She can see you?
Yeah, that's fine. Right?
Yeah.
I can see her. Where was she? Denver?
Yeah.
You want to wave too?
No, she's gone already.
She's already got up and walked out of the office.
All right. So I'm stopping the recording.